Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Jonawan Saputri, and now I will present my material about speech act. In this material, there are 5 contents that will be discussed. The first is introduction, the second is definition, the third is uses of speech act, and then types of speech act, and the last is a series of 5 illustrationary points, and then the last part is summary. The first is introduction of speech act. The speech act theory was introduced by Oxford philosopher J.L. Austin 1962 in his well-known book of How to Do Things with Words, and further developed by American philosopher J.R. Searle 1969. They believe that language is not only used to inform or to describe things, it is often used to do things, to perform action. And then definition of speech act. Speech act is a subfield of Pragmatics that studies how words are used not only to present information, but also to carry out actions. In simple words, action performed via utterances are generally called speech act. For example, I'm hungry. The sentence of I'm hungry not only expresses hunger, but also serves as a request for something to eat. And the child in the picture uses this utterance to convey their need and hopes the others will respond. And then use of speech act. We use the term speech acts to describe actions, such as asking questions. This is a speech act used to seek information or clarification. For example, what is your name, or can you help me? And then making requests. A request is a speech act used to ask someone to do something. For instance, could you please pass the salt? Or can you open the door? And then making promises. When we make a promise, we commit to doing something in the future. For example, I promise to be there on time, or I will call you later. And then making threats. A threat is a speech act used to warn someone of negative consequences if they don't comply with a demand. For example, if you don't stop that, I'll tell your mom. Or you'll be sorry if you do that. And then giving orders. An order is a direct command or instruction. For example, sit down or turn off the lights. And the last is giving advice. Advice is a suggestion or recommendation offered to help someone. For example, you should study harder, or I think you should take a break. And then types of speech act. There are 3 types of speech act, namely locutionary speech act, illocutionary speech act, and perlocutionary speech act. In this slide, we can see a picture illustrate that there are 3 components of speech act. The first is speaker. Speaker is the person who produces the utterance. And then message. Message is the content of the utterance. And the last is hearer. Hearer is the person who receives the utterance. The first is locutionary speech act. There are three points in a locutionary speech act. The first is the literal meaning of the actual words. This is the core of a locutionary act. It is about the actual words used and their inherent meaning within the language. For example, the phrase "the sky is blue" has a literal meaning that refers to the color of the sky, and point to what is actually said by the speakers, or words that are spoken. The locutionary act focuses on the spoken words themselves, not the speaker's attention or the listener's interpretation. It's about the physical act of producing sounds that form a meaningful utterance. And point 3, statement. Statements are a common type of locutionary act. They convey information or express a belief, but they don't necessarily aim to do anything further. For example, "It's raining outside" is a statement that simply conveys information. And we can see example in this slide. "The coffee tastes great." This is a locutionary speech act. It is simply the act of saying the words along with their literal meaning. The speaker conveys the fact that the coffee tastes great. The second is illocutionary speech act. An illocutionary speech act refers to the intended meaning or purpose behind a speaker's utterance. It's what the speaker is trying to accomplish by saying something. There are five main points in illocutionary speech act. The first is the intention of the speaker when uttering those words. This is the core of an illocutionary act. It's the speaker's goal or aim in communicating, and then stating an opinion. This is when the speaker expresses their personal belief or viewpoint on a topic, and then making a promise or request. This involves the speaker committing to do something in the future or asking someone else to do something, and then giving an advice or permission. This involves the speaker offering suggestions or recommendation, or granting authorization for someone to do something, and then issuing an order or decision. This is when the speaker is instructing someone to do something or making a final judgment. Example, the sentence "go to your work" is an example of an illocutionary act that is issuing an order. The speaker is directly telling the listener to go to their place of employment. And the last is perlocutionary speech act. Perlocutionary act is the effect produced on the listener when they listen locutionary act, or this is the hearer's response. For example, "I will take you to Disneyland for your birthday." The hearer jumps up and down with joy. Another example for differentiate between allocutionary egg, and perlocutionary egg is the sentence "It is hot in here." It is hot in here. Allocutionary egg referring to the temperature, and illocutionary egg request for someone to turn on the air conditioning, and perlocutionary egg someone getting up and turning on the air conditioning. And then Searle's 5 illocutionary points. Searle divides illocutionary eggs into 5 basic types. The first is directive, commissive, representative, declarative, and expressive. The first is directive. The speaker tries to make the hearer do something, like ask, order, command, request, demand, pray, invite, and so on. It means the speaker wants the hearer to do what the speaker wants. For example, give me your pen. The second, commissive. The speaker commits himself or herself to do something in the future, like promise, plan, offer, treats, and so on. It means the speaker commits to the listener. For example, I'm going to Lahore tomorrow, or I promise to exercise every day. The third is representative. Representative is what the speaker believes or predict, and also called assertive. For example, the earth is round, or the weather will be good tomorrow. And the fourth, declarative. Declarative is statements that change the situation immediately within the context. In order to perform a declaration properly, the speaker has to have a special institutional role or power is a specific in a specific context. For example, you are hired. And the last is expressive. Expressive is utterances used to express the emotional state of the speaker, like apologize, complain, thanks, and compliments. For example, I'm sorry for being late. The dress looks really good on you, and congratulations. Okay, I think enough my presentation today. Thank you, and I hope it helps you guys. Bye bye.